Innovate your way out of recession and protect your patent. That's the core message from this year's World Intellectual Property Day event in Lagos, put together by a law firm, Jackson, Etty & Edu. Participants at the event agree that while every recession offers opportunities, protecting your ideas and innovation against theft and piracy is important. Our correspondent Yomi Otaigwe reports.
In this hall are brand managers, creative industry experts and intellectual property professionals. The discussion here is centered around individuals and organizations innovating their way out of recession. The panelists share interesting examples of how to do this.
In looking at the water hyacinth, I said, there's got to be a win-win solution for the communities and a win-win solution for the environment. And that became the opportunity for me. I started learning how to transform this water hyacinth into products. So this is the water hyacinth you see in your waters here, wow, which has been transformed to this.
While creative ideas, hobbies and passion can be transformed into goods and services, protecting your ideas and intellectual property should be part of your plan.
For instance, you may have come across an interesting body of knowledge of how to do a thing. I mean, all of these might not be new, but that process of doing it might be something that is entirely new and something that could be patentable under the law of patents.
The keynote speaker at the event, Mo Abudu, while sharing some of the steps she took that have worked for her organization in the film industry, which include partnerships, offers suggestions on how to tackle intellectual property infringement.
We need, as an industry, to invest in protecting our content. And that investment comes at the point of when you're making the content. It comes at the point of when the content is being produced and is out in the marketplace. It's talking about don't buy pirated copies. It's ensuring that you possibly set up some sort of task force and invest in that task force as a community to ensure that your content isn't, being pirated.
And for those seeking platforms for their innovations and ideas, hear this.
When you write your documents or write letters about your ideas, just stamp confidential on it. Just stamp confidential on it so that one day, if somebody tries to take advantage of it, you can say you gave him a confidential document. And I thought that was a big takeaway to this. If you're a young person, try and make all your discussions around that kind of psychology, that if it's a letter, confidential. If it's something you send to the back, mark confidential.
As World Intellectual Property Day is marked globally, the message from this forum is for every creative mind to see intellectual property not as something abstract, but as physical property that should be guarded legally. Yomi Otaigwe reporting for Channels Television News.
Time now for business news on the News at 10 with Anwar Odo.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Gimba, and welcome to Business News. For the second time this week, the Naira's exchange rate for foreign portfolio investors has eased. According to data from FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange, the local currency fell from 374.96 in the previous session to 378.54 against the dollar on the new forex trading window, which was introduced for investors and exporters last weekend by the CBN. On the interbank market, the Naira was quoted at 305.90 to the dollar, while it was unchanged at 388 Naira on the street market today. Nigerian Brewers has attributed its 314 billion Naira revenue, which was recorded in 2016, to costs and market leadership, which was supported by innovation. The management of the stock exchange-listed brewer gave a breakdown of the financial statement at its pre-annual general meeting in Lagos.
A revenue of 314 billion naira, up 6.7% from 293 billion naira in 2015, bringing about a profit of 28.39 billion naira in the 2016 financial calendar. These numbers, begging for explanations, inform the rationale for this meeting.
and we expect.
Chief Executive Nicholas Veveld says despite the 2016 tough economic climate, the decline in disposable income did not hinder profitability.
With our balanced portfolio and well-developed distribution network, we've been able to reach our consumer and increase our volume sold. Given the upward pressure on input cost, we took the initiative to implement 3 price increases in May, September and November to limit the pressure on input cost.
The brewer paid a gross interim dividend of 7.9 billion naira in 2016, while a final dividend of 20 billion naira will also be proposed at next month's annual meeting.
The proposed dividend for the year 2016 is indicated on this slide. Again, 100% payout ratio. Otherwise said, the dividend equals the net profit the company made.
But how bullish is Nigerian breweries in 2017?
Of course, everybody hopes it will pick up and that the activities undertaken and the plans and policies put in place by the government, that they will start impacting the business environment. That would be great news for everybody. But at the moment and also the first start of the first 4 months of this year, we saw more or less the same challenges as we saw in 2016.
On May the 3rd, shareholders will have a profitable 2 naira 50 kobo per share up for grabs, and each investor is allowed to choose between a script payment or cash dividend.
And today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended in the red after 2 straight gains within the week. That's a response to profit-taking by investors. BC Adebayo tells us more.
Nigeria's stock market lost some of the steam recorded in the last 2 sessions on Wednesday on the back of profit taken in some of the high-cap stocks. Despite a positive market breadth, overall value went down by 7 billion naira to 8.86 trillion naira, while the all-share index lost 77 basis points to close at 25,620.94. Compared with Tuesday's session, Wednesday's total transaction yielded a higher turnover of 255.72 million shares, worth over 1.6 billion naira in 2,845 deals. Transcorp was investors' main delight with 56 million shares, followed by Owando and UAC Property. Diamond Bank, Transcorp and Dangote Cement were the primary decliners among 10 losers, while Owando, Honeywell Flour and Stanbic topped a list of 24 gainers. And that's it on the stock market reports. I am BC Adebayo.
Thank you, BC. And about 24 hours after setting a new all-time high, the Nasdaq Composite broke another record earlier today, along with other major averages on Wall Street. But let's hear from VOA Channel's TV business correspondent, Jill Malandrino from the Nasdaq market site in New York.
U.S. stocks opened flat to kick off the session on Wednesday. It's been quite a week for the major averages as the Nasdaq Composite crossed a major milestone, closing above the 6,000 level on Tuesday. In fact, we actually touched a new all-time high at the open of trade today at 60.37. The small-cap Russell 2000 index also hit a record high intraday on Tuesday. Dow Jones Industrial Average crossed 21,000, and the S&P 500 traded not too far from its record high. Now, this all happened just a day after surging on macro and geopolitical events. Throughout the day, after strong earnings results from several Dow components also helped for the strong momentum. Now, given the strong earnings results and an expected announcement from President Trump on tax reform today, there seems to be zero fear in the market, even ahead of a possible government shutdown this weekend if a budget deal is not reached. Now, in fact, the VIX, a broad measure of volatility in the market, sank almost 26% in just one day. Going back to 1990, this was the 4th largest one-day percentage drop ever. Defensive sectors and assets such as gold, bonds, and the yen sold off, while utilities underperformed as investors rotated into financials, tech, industrials, and healthcare. The big story this week is going to be earnings after the close on Thursday, with 5 key NASDAQ-listed heavyweights, including Starbucks, Google, Amazon.com, Microsoft, and Intel. From the NASDAQ market site in New York, I'm Jill Malandrino, and this is VOA Channel's Business News.
And as for major world stock markets, particularly in Europe, it ended positive today, except for U.S. markets, which of course closed in the red after the White House released its tax reform plan. Let's see the numbers. Thanks a lot for watching Business News Tonight. I'm Anne Nwawadu. The rest of the news at 10 continues with Gimba.
You first. First Bank.
The Minister of Agriculture, Ogbeh, is asking state governments to rise above political sentiments and work for the development of agriculture to achieve food security in Nigeria. The minister, who is in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, with his deputy, Senator Heineken Lokbobiri, ahead of the National Council on Agriculture, says that the sector is key to the nation's economic recovery. Their host, Governor Wike, says that the state government is currently investing massively in oil palm, rubber, cassava, and is ready to partner with government agencies and the private sector.
Issues of food and our resilience and survival in agriculture must be placed way above politics. And we must partner, all of us, because the future of this country, with the rising population and the challenges and the cost of importation of food rising by the day, can only be guaranteed if we decide to feed ourselves. And the potentials in River State, the Niger Delta altogether, really nationwide are very, very high. But there are things we have to do.
Agriculture is a serious business. If Nigeria must go to the next level, agriculture is a key. And so, for somebody who wants Nigeria to grow, we need the cooperation and support of every sector in order to make this particular sector, which is very key to a growth of the economy. We are working in conjunction with the Faculty of Agriculture, River State University, that we cannot allow that land to just waste. And the school has to come back. We will do everything we can to see that we'll bring back the school.
Eliminating major security challenges has ushered in massive developments to Anambra State. Governor Willie Obiano made these comments while hosting trainees from the Institute of Security Study in Abuja. He says that arresting insecurity in the state has always been his top priority. The team is on a study tour of Anambra State as members explore how an executive-legislative relationship can help tackle security challenges. And still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's Rivers United to face Moroccan, Tunisian and Ugandan opponents in the group stages of the 2017 Confederations Cup. And that's coming up on Sports News. Do join us again.